what's the limit for someone denying that they will see you if you are in some sort of online relationship? Like, do you give them a 3-month runway? Do you give them 6 months? Or like the first time they say no, do you go,
Right. I mean, look, obviously geographics play a big part. So if you happen to fall in love with someone who says or does live far away, that would delay the ease of meeting up in person to some extent. But I mean, the problem is if you're a kid, if you're young, if you're a teenager or in your 20s and you don't have any disposable income and you're in school or you live at home or whatever, you can't just up and go, right? I get why some people really dive into these online relationships because it's fun and it feels good and someone cares about you and wants to give you attention and you wake up to a text from them and they say goodnight. It's like, I get why these relationships feel important and people get very close. Because it's hard to find intimacy and trust these days. So I think for the genuine relationships that start where one person is deceptive, but not with the intention of deceiving, but because they created a profile because they were insecure or they were exploring their sexuality or their gender identity, and all of a sudden they made a connection and then they don't expect it to get so intense, and then it does, and it's like, oh, well, how do I now reveal that I'm not the person in those pictures or I'm actually transitioning or whatever? I get how those things happen. So if that's the case and it is a genuine connection, I can see why you will give a longer runway because this person really is caring about you. They're not asking for money. They're not messing with you. They're genuinely, in many cases, in love with you. So again, like I don't discourage people from having online relationships that don't turn into physical ones because I think there's a lot you can get out of that. But if what you want is a physical relationship, and you're talking to this person for it's like you can't put hard to put an exact length on it, but like I don't know, I'm certainly a year.
Yeah.
But
it's also like if someone denies FaceTiming you more than once,
right,
they're probably lying.
Right, I agree.
Yeah,
right.
Everyone can.
But again, if you're willing to forego FaceTiming because it doesn't really matter, and you're getting 90% of what a relationship should be anyway, then great, enjoy it. Like I tell everybody on the show before we really start, and it's not usually on camera, but sometimes I think they put it in. I say, hey, like if you're really happy with the relationship how it is, then tell me now, because like there's a very low likelihood that at the end of this process, you're going to still have the relationship with this person that you have.
And has anyone ever said yes?
No, everybody wants to know the truth. And I always warn them. I'm like, hey, well, the truth is probably not going to be something you like. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter. The connection I have with this person is so deep. So even if they find out that they're not who I think they are, like, surely there'll still be some future. And unfortunately, there almost never is, because attraction does play a huge part. Also, mystery is, I think, one of the greatest aphrodisiacs. Like the not knowing and the uncertainty is sexy and fun and exciting. And then all of a sudden, it's like, never meet your heroes, right?
Yeah.
Because they'll disappoint you in most cases, unless it's like Keanu Reeves or,
oh my God,
Is there an
episode?
Yeah.
Is there an episode of Reba? Is there an episode of Catfish that you can't or haven't aired?
There were two episodes that didn't air.
Say more.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. They didn't air because of like particularly crazy reasons. Well, sort of. So, and honestly, one of them was probably my favorite hour of television ever.
Wow.
We helped this young man who lives with his parents outside of Boston, like in like Hard, Massachusetts. Like if
Dorchester,
Mike's Hard Lemonade was a neighborhood, that's where these people live. Okay. And the accent thick, right. Exactly. Yeah. You got it. And he's developmentally sort of challenged, but fully functional, super sweet kid. But, like lives at home. He's taken care of by his family. He's probably in his like late 20s. I don't know. And he meets guys he's gay and which was already like surprising, like that this family is so loving and supportive of their gay son. Okay, but great. I'm happy to have seen that. He meets guys on the internet, and he'd had a guy he'd met on the internet who he invited to come and stay with him without telling his parents. The guy showed up. The parents were like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Adam.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, this is my boy. This is my
Glenn."
Right, exactly. This is my boyfriend I met 3 days ago, and he's going to stay with us now."
Yeah.
And they are so sweet. They're like, "Okay, fine, he can stay with you." But of course, he was just sort of a freeloader, and he was taking advantage of this poor, sweet guy. And he stayed there until they could finally kick him out a few weeks later. So he'd had experiences already where he got taken advantage of. He meets this guy online. He's clearly getting catfished. The profile shows a picture that's just like so ridiculously not a real person. I mean, a real person, but like not the guy he's talking to. And we take him from Boston down to Orlando, which is where this guy is. And we end up meeting the guy. And he's a lovely, sweet guy, but he's a big guy, you know? And he works at Disney World. And he's I don't know if he's been diagnosed or not, but he's also just like very childlike and just this. They're so sweet, and the two of them, and the guy from Boston is so happy. Doesn't care. He doesn't fucking care. He just is so happy that this sweet man genuinely likes him and wants to hang out with him, and so he takes him to Disney World on this incredible date.
Epcot.
I don't know where they went. We couldn't go with them to film, but they went. He took them.
Animal Kingdom.
Josh Rosenshingle.
Yeah.
They went to
Exactly.
And they ended up having like a lovely weekend together. And I don't know what ended up happening,
Wow.
but the reality of them being together was not in the cards, but like it was so sweet and so heartwarming. And I was so excited for the episode to air because it really showcased a side of, the people and this family and Boston. Like it just had a lot of interesting things in it.
And it worked out.
Which almost never
common.
happens.
Yeah.
And I remember getting called in when we were filming one day and they were like, "Hey, we got bad news. Like the Boston Orlando episode, like we can't air it." And I was like, "Why?" Apparently the young man who he'd helped from Boston at some point after filming and before the episode would have aired got arrested for public masturbation, like in some park. I don't know what happened. Who knows what had happened, but some legal thing happened. And as a result, liability and the insurance of MTV was like, we shouldn't air this because this guy, anyway, so it just got like shelved. It was such a bummer.
That took a left turn. I was here, all the fields, Disney World. They found each other, and all of a sudden,